Yo, hey, this shit easy, nigga. Hey, all I'm talking about, nigga, I'm still out here trying to get it.
Contender Regime Boxing, checking back in with y'all, man. What's going on? What's good? Y'all know it's fight week, man. We got Errol the True Spence Jr. versus Jordanis Ugas in a 3-belt unification match going down this Saturday, April 16th, right here in the DFW, man. It's going down. It's going down, man. You know I had to chop it back up with y'all, man. And, you know, this whole week, man, we tapping in. You feel me? We tapping in. It's all things Errol Spence, all things Jordanis Ugas this week. You feel what I'm saying, man? And it's fitting. It's fitting. This is a huge event. This is a huge fight. It's momentous. You know what I'm saying? It's colossal. This is heavy shit, man. 3-belt unification. This is the first 3-belt unification at welterweight since 2015. Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? This is big shit, man. You don't see the titles get unified that often at 147. It's the glamour division outside of the heavyweight division. It's probably the most popular division in the sport in boxing history. You know what I'm saying? And that's been holding true over the last 10 or 15 years. You know? And, you know, shout out to Errol Spence, man. He just, today, they just declared April 16th officially Errol Spence Jr. Day. You know what I'm saying? The city of Dallas, they came down to a world-class boxing gym in Oak Cliff, owned by Derrick James and his family, home of Errol the True Spence Jr., home of Frank Martin, home of, you know, Jamel Charlo when he comes to Dallas to train. You know what I'm saying? I recently seen Jamal Charlo up in that motherfucker getting in some work with Errol Spence. You know, and they awarded Errol Spence with his own day in the city, man. Beautiful thing. It's beautiful. And, you know, I just want to talk about Errol Spence and what I believe we will witness on Saturday and going forward for the rest of his career. You know, blessings do come in disguise. Sometimes the things that you thought would have been your salvation will be your doom. And sometimes the shit that you thought would have been your doom will be your salvation. You dig what I'm saying? Nobody would ever want to go through the car accident that Errol Spence went through. Motherfucker could have died. It's still amazing to me how he fucking survived. Let alone boxing again. You feel what I'm saying? And then the eye injury, which is, you know, shit like that happens in boxing. But just to see the different setbacks, man, and, you know, see how folks treated him after the accident, to see how a lot of people that was rocking with him, they jumped off the bandwagon. You feel me? That's to be expected. With the inactivity, other guys started to, you know, get their name up a little bit. You know, motherfuckers jump off the bandwagon. That's cool, but Errol Spence is still here. You know what I'm saying? He was able to bounce back from that shit and come back. And when everybody thought a lot of people thought, not everybody, but a lot of people thought the shit was over. A lot of people, it's still people to this day that say he not the same. You know, you got Jordanis Ugas trainer, Brother Silas. You feel me? Brother Silas saying that he don't feel like Errol Spence is the same. You're going to find out. You're going to find out. But a lot of people saying that he still ain't the same. You know, I remember a lead covering the Danny Garcia fight, and the lead up to that fight, this was Errol Spence's first fight back since the accident. Nobody really know what to expect. Bruh got new teeth in his mouth, all type of shit. Rusty as hell, been out the ring for a long time. That was his longest layoff since the Kell Brook, leading up to the Kell Brook fight. You know, because he couldn't get no damn fight. Everybody was ducking. He couldn't get no motherfucking fights. So he had to climb his way into a mandatory position to get Kell Brook, and we was all waiting on Kell Brook to come back down from 160 because he went up there to fight Triple G. So we didn't know what Kell Brook was going to do. He had to sit out for a long ass time, like a year or something. You know, but Errol Spence went into the Danny Garcia fight, man, it was so many people telling me, he ain't have no punch resistance no more. He wasn't gonna be able to take a punch. You had Angel Garcia saying, I looked in his eyes and I seen that his soul wasn't there. You got Blair Cobbs just said some shit like that a few months ago. He ain't got his soul ain't there. Or he cursed. You know what I'm saying? And then Blair Cobbs go out there and get his ass knocked the fuck out. You dig what I'm saying? But that's neither here nor there. We ain't talking about that, right? But I'm just setting the stage, man. If you just you look at the build up, you look at the history and everything that Errol Spence had to battle to get back to where he at right now. And if you seen how he look now, and I want to talk about the lead up to the Manny Pacquiao fight as well, which I thought was going to be a huge opportunity for him. It would have been a life-changing event for Errol Spence. It would have been a career-changing event. It would have changed the trajectory of his career. I mean, he's still trending up, but that shit would have put him on like a fast track to superstardom type shit. You feel me? Manny Pacquiao being a legend, a household name, man, and what I believed Errol Spence was going to go out there and do to him, man, I think he was going to go out there and put a motherfucking beat down on Manny Pacquiao. And look, get this, though. The crazy thing about it, remember I just said, like, blessings come in disguise. Sometimes what you think will be your salvation will be your doom. Sometimes the shit you think will be your doom will be your salvation. He got the eye injury. Now, leading up to that Manny Pacquiao fight, bruh, he didn't look like how he look right now. He didn't look as healthy as he look right now. Mind you, this is before he had the nutritionist. You know what I'm saying? So he had just started back working with Blu-ray, so he was getting his strength and conditioning shit going, right? But he was still on some like fat camp shit, low key. He was in good shape versus Danny Garcia, but not the best shape. And then going into the Manny Pacquiao fight, he was in decent shape. He was looking real good. But you could just tell that, it's been some time since he really been in the groove of things. He wasn't looking like how he look right now. And even him not even being all the way 100 like I feel like he is right now, I still thought he was finna go out there and put all type of body limbs on Manny Pacquiao and fuck him up way worse than what Yordenis Ugas did. But again, I just said, blessings come in disguise. Now he got the eye injury. What that do? Allow him to take even more time off, sharpen up, mentality. You got even more motivation. You got even more hunger now. You know what I'm saying? You got even more that you feel like you need to prove. And that Manny Pacquiao fight, they was trying to make it for the ring belt, but it wasn't going to be for the true WBA belt. So yeah, it would have been huge for him in that regard and like status and notoriety and money and all that, which is awesome. I'm still fucked up he missed out on that opportunity. But the eye injury allowed him to get all the way in shape, get a nutritionist. Now he looking like, I think he looks better than ever. But if you had to compare this version of Errol Spence to any other version of Errol Spence, just physically and the type of shape that he's in, you'd have to go back to the Leonard Bundu fight. You'd have to go back to the Chris Algieri fight. You'd have to go back to the Lamont Peterson fight. I mean, the brother was in spectacular shape. Spectacular. And I talked about this in my prediction video. Now that I got the prediction out the way, now I can really just, chop it up with y'all about what I think gonna happen. You feel me? But the reason why motherfuckers be like wondering like, damn, why everybody be so hyped up about what type of shape Errol Spence in, like when we see him in phenomenal shape like this, because Errol Spence, the type of style that he has, conditioning is a huge deal. For him to be able to throw 1,000 punches in a fight like he did versus Mikey Garcia, and that wasn't even the best Errol Spence. For him to be able to keep up the type of work rate he had in the Kell Brook fight, to keep, pushing forward, keeping that physical and mental pressure on a guy. The way he cuts off the ring, his ability to constantly keep a jab in your face, to constantly go to the body and stay on top of a fighter. That type of style, it breaks a fighter's will. Motherfuckers always get so enamored with one punch knockout power, which is cool, but It's a different story when you in that bitch getting beat the fuck up the whole fight. And you got an expiration date on you, about 4 to 8 rounds, maybe 10 if you're lucky. It's only so long you can take that shit, and it's only so long for your corner or the ref say, nah, it's a wrap, bro. Errol Spence has to be in phenomenal shape, which is just another day at the office for him. That's normal for him when he on that level. When mentally he at that level. He got that hunger, that motivation. It ain't nothing for Errol Spence to stay in shape. It ain't nothing for him to like be on his game. But again, he needed all of these past events to happen to get him back in that gear. I told you, I felt like 2019 throughout his whole career, in my opinion, that was the weakest Errol Spence I've seen. Not in terms of skill, not in terms of ring IQ, not in terms of boxing ability, but in terms of discipline, in terms of his physical condition. That was the weakest Errol Spence that I ever seen. Yet he still went out there and beat undefeated, pound for pound, top 5 pound for pound Mikey Garcia. And WBC champion Shawn Porter coming off the best win in his career. You know what I'm saying? So you got to put this shit into perspective. You got to take everything into consideration. All that shit happened to get Errol Spence to where he at right now. He didn't get to fight Manny Pacquiao, but what happened? Now you got a straight shot to unify the titles. That Manny Pacquiao fight, even though everybody was petitioning to get that fight, even Manny Pacquiao was petitioning like, please let me get my belt back. You know what I'm saying? So it can be on the line for the Spence fight. But WBA wasn't having that shit. They was like, nah, Ugas the champion now. But it just so happened Ugas got a chance to go out there and actually prove that he was a champion and beat Manny Pacquiao ass, which he did. And now Errol Spence, though he missed the Manny Pacquiao fight, he get a fast track straight to Yordenis Ugas for unification, which is part of his goal in pursuit to becoming the first 4-belt era undisputed champion at 147. You know what I'm saying? And that shit is just crazy how this shit unfolded. And the reason why I say that Errol Spence, that the fans love, that the people love, back in 2016, back in 2017, back in 2018, when the motherfucker could hardly get fights because people was ducking. Do y'all remember Konstantin Ponomarev? Do you remember how he was lined up? They had mandated Konstantin Ponomarev and Errol Spence to fight to become the title, become the mandatory for Kell Brook in the IBF. And you know the IBF serious about their mandatories. They serious about that shit. When they set up a title eliminator, they serious about that shit. Konstantin Ponomarev, he was undefeated. Dropped out the fight. Matter of fact, he didn't even want the fight. He turned the shit down. Errol Spence had to fight Leonard Bundu. You know what I'm saying? You remember Keith Thurman didn't want no smoke with Errol Spence. Shawn Porter didn't want no smoke with Errol Spence. Danny Garcia didn't want no smoke with Errol Spence. It wasn't until late 2018 when Terrence Crawford came into the picture and he still wasn't even calling Errol Spence's name. He was talking about Keith Thurman and shit. And then 2018 on up, that fight started to build up and build up and build up because of the great fighter that Terrence Crawford is. And naturally, motherfuckers want to see the best fight the best, right? But you remember how Errol Spence was avoided and feared by a lot of these motherfuckers. You remember when people were saying that he was on steroids because he was so fucking dominant. The brother was in such great shape and he's so dominant in the ring, they claiming steroids. You know what I'm saying? That Errol Spence is back. But he's better because everything else never went away. The skill never went away. The ring IQ never went away. The mentality in the ring never went away. All those things have been enhanced with wisdom and, continued hard work, studying the game, focusing on his craft, just getting better and better and better. Now you take that dog Errol Spence, that hungry Errol Spence that felt like he had so much to prove, the one that was starving for a world title opportunity. You take that and you put that physical specimen with the current Errol Spence, 32 years old in his prime, with everything on the line, on the brink of reaching his goal of becoming undisputed. That's the only reason he's still at 147, because he want to be undisputed. Bruh could have been moved up to 154. The only reason he's still here is because he want to be fucking undisputed. So you take the Errol Spence physically, I think he looks better than he's ever looked. But you take that Errol Spence physically that you saw versus Chris Algieri, and you add that to the IQ, the mentality, the discipline, the new found hunger. You know what I'm saying? The new motivation to prove motherfuckers wrong. And then you got Coach Derrick James even on an elevated level. This Errol Spence that we about to see on Saturday, I wanted to make this video because I have to put emphasis on this. This version of Errol Spence that we're about to see on Saturday, it's going to be a lot of people surprised. It's going to be a lot of people like me that's like, yeah, I always knew that was there. I knew that shit never really went nowhere. You know what I'm saying? But it's going to be a lot of motherfuckers going to be surprised. A lot of motherfuckers going to be like, damn, I thought Earl, he wasn't like that no more. I don't know if Terrence Crawford can beat him now. I don't know if Boots can get him now. You know, I don't know. It's going to be a whole lot of motherfuckers changing their tune. I'm telling you, a lot of these guys going to be changing their tune. A lot of them. And that's cool. You know, I welcome it. Because I see the bullshit. I rock with Errol Spence, win, lose, or draw. You know what I'm saying? I'ma always keep it real though. But this real support over here. You know what I'm saying? This some Texas shit. This some Dallas, Texas shit. But this some Texas shit. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? So he gonna have my support 100%. You feel me? But at the same time, I see this shit for what it is. And everything I just said in this video, you can't say I'm telling no lies. Because this shit is documented. And if you really been paying attention, you know a motherfucker telling the truth. You know I'm telling the truth. No pun intended. You dig what I'm saying? So, y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, man. Have y'all been paying attention to the journey? Do you see what's been unfolding? Yordenis Ugas, I love Yordenis Ugas. I think he is a great guy. And I love his story. Been through a lot. That motherfucker worked hard to get where he at. But he finna get his ass whooped on Saturday. He finna get the worst beat down that he ever got in his life. And that same thing that was next, same thing gonna happen to Terrence Crawford. I'm telling you. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, man. Contender regime boxing. Now holla at y'all boys, man.